everyone, this is the What's Up Dude. We are here at Cantigny Memorial and War Museum. So we are going to explore the area and have some fun. This is Sean, the What's Up Dude. So right here, we just have a couple silhouettes of some soldiers. In the back area, we have some tanks. Right here, we do have the army tanks. We'll walk around and explore some of these. Some information on each one. This is the MIA-1 main battle tank. Sometimes they do have a little shop for drinks and food along the way. We are here on Independence Day, celebrating our country's freedom. This is the M113 Armored Personal Carrier. There's a mean looking tank right here. This is the M60 main battle tank, nicknamed the Patton. Right here, this is the M551 airborne assault vehicle. Sheridan is this one's nickname. This one right here is the M48 main battle tank. And you can see here, this is the entire view of the park. Lots of areas to walk in. And over there, that is the main museum where we'll head over to later. This is the T26E4 heavy tanker, the Pershing. This one looks a little intimidating. Got the teeth right on the front. This is the M46 medium tank Patton. And this is the M47 medium tank, also a Patton. Here's a better shot of the main museum campus. And we do have a map of the grounds in case you want to figure out where you're going. And then we'll continue to walk toward the rest of the tanks. Another huge tank right here. And we'll go over to the information. This is the M41A3 light tank Walker Bulldog. Next one is the M24 light tank Chaffee. And this tank right here, this is the M5 light tank Stewart, representing America here. And this tank right here is the M1917 6-ton tank. And as you can see, the grounds keep going. There's a lot to see here and a lot to do. So if you're in Illinois and want to remember what our military heroes did for us, come to this area and pay your respects. The Bell UH-1C Huey Pew Pew ship. So this is from the Vietnam age. And it talks about the Vietnam War, 1st Infantry Division, and how we were involved in that war. Something special that they have right now is something called Follow Me, and they have different color paths, and you have to follow the colors and walk on each path, and it goes all the way down to the visitor center. Right, and we are headed up the stairs to the museum. This is the main lobby of the museum, the Year of the Warrior, and this is some of the artifacts from the Big Red One. Tree of Valor, the Big Red One. Some more artifacts. This is an empty chair for all of the veterans that have gone missing in action. So we remember them. Right here, this is just the 1st Division. Shot of the museum in the middle when you first enter. There's my mom in the corner. And this is First in War, and we'll head inside and show you around. 1917 to 1970. This is First in War. As we enter the exhibit, this is 1917 to 1970. 1st Infantry Division is America's first and oldest combat division. This is just a couple pictures of the soldiers. This is a little artifact showing what some of the members would carry on them. And here we go into World War I, the Great War, 1914 to 1918. Massive armies mirrored in muddy trenches, devastated farmlands and villages, fields of the unalived. For 4 terrible years, World War I engulfed half the globe. When you come in here, you can get more information. We're entering the exhibit now, showing you soldiers. This is a French soldier, what they would wear on the battlefield. And this is a timeline of the war. This is a German soldier, what they would wear. Doughboy outfit. Here's one of the weapons that they had. Here, this is the Battle of Cantigny, May 1918. The tank up there shows your soldiers coming out. So, old Cantigny sign, road sign. They made the environment like you would be at the event. Taking Cantigny. There's a little information about what happened here. Trench warfare of 1914. And it was full of tank warfare as well. A little video showing you them marching. So the French actually supported with tanks. We're headed down into the trenches. A couple of artifacts here. World War I weapons. Now keep in mind, everything in this museum is historical. We're just showing it for historical purposes, showing history on 4th of July for Independence Day. Little information about building trenches. And they had to be prepared for any kind of weapons that they didn't know about, chemical weapons. So they had to have gas masks to be prepared for any kind of attacks. And now we're entering June to December of 1918. So these are new weapons and uniforms that they would have been using. There's a reenactment of soldiers mapping out their plans. Battle of St. Miel. This 1st Division played a key role in the victory at St. Miel. And you have the Meuse Argonne offensive. Was September 26th to November 11th of 2018. A couple of uniforms. And items that they would carry, including toothbrush. And then we have the Treaty of Versailles. Information about that there. And these are the girls of the army that they would basically communicate. We have a woman here and she's decoding messages and sending messages out. This is a YMCA worker. Stop in and relax for a minute. They do have some informational videos of what happened during all these wars. This here is showing you Pearl Harbor.
We will gain the inevitable triumph, so help us God.
Map of division headquarters. Uniforms and helmets of different soldiers for the 1st Division. Preparing for war. And then now we're entering into World War II. So, for World War II, changes in land warfare, it changed the face of war by having vehicles and other changes in the landscape. This is showing you just a little bit about what to expect when you were out there. There's all sorts of tanks, motorcycles, and SUVs. This right here is a Free French Gomer soldier. And this is a area over here showing you the beach gallery of Omaha. This is the Allied campaign in the Mediterranean, showing you what their plans were. And this is just a bedding case, or what they would sleep with. There's a couple of helmets, weapons, and gas masks during the World War II age. Showing you different heroes of the war and some of their artifacts that they still have. D-Day, invasion in Normandy, June 6, 1944. The Allies planned the largest amphibious assault in history. Some propaganda posters from World War II. We are entering the D-Day Theater. Start in about 45 seconds, so we'll show you that in just a moment.
After a string of early defeats in the Pacific, the Allies are finally beginning to advance against the Japanese. In Europe, the war has dragged on for nearly 5 years, with millions dead. But the Allies are finally making progress here. They have cleared the Germans from North Africa, and are now slogging their way up the Italian peninsula. To the east, at a terrible cost of human life, the Soviets return in time and are slowly forcing the Germans into retreat. The fate of the entire war now rests upon a single day. The Allies are about to launch Operation Open, the largest amphibious invasion in history. The goal? Open a new front in France and battle their way into Germany to bring the war to an end. The enemy knows full well the attack is coming. They just don't know when or where. In anticipation, the Germans have spent 2 years building the Atlantic Wall, a powerful defensive line made of millions of tons of steel and concrete, and countless mines. Thousands of German soldiers lie in wait, hoping to crush the Allies before they can get a foothold on the continent. The key to the Allies' success is surprise, and to this end, they've concocted an elaborate ruse. They've positioned thousands of fake tanks and aircraft in England, with the intention of fooling the enemy into believing the attack will be aimed at Calais. Meanwhile, an enormous armada of real ships is being ready for a surprise attack farther south on 5 beaches in Normandy. The battle-hardened 1st Division is given the unenviable job of taking Omaha Beach, which lies at the crux of the multi-pronged attack. The plan is for Allied airstrikes and naval gunfire to first destroy most of the German defenses. The 1st Division's assault will then begin in no time, when the German defensive barriers are visible above waterline. Tanks will land first, followed by the infantry, and then engineers who will clear away mines and obstacles for the next wave of troops. Once on the beach, the men must somehow advance 500 yards through crisscrossing machine gun and anti-tank fire. The stakes couldn't be higher. If the invasion fails, the conflict in Europe could drag on for years, giving Germany time to win the war. On June 4th, General Dwight Eisenhower gives the go-ahead to launch the D-Day attack on June 6th. The countdown begins. The Allies have the element of surprise on their side. The 82nd and 101st Airborne Divisions and the British 6th Airborne Division are first dropped behind enemy lines. The 1st Division is part of Assault Force O, commanded by Major General Clarence Hugh. After several days spent waiting aboard transport ships, Assault Force O sets out across the English Channel. It is D-Day. 12 miles offshore, the troops scramble down road cargo nets in a landing craft. 32 men per vessel. Hours pass as the vessel organizing the assault base before pressing forward. The pre-dawn sky this morning is dark and overcast. The sea is especially rough. The men are drenched by ocean spray. Many are seasick. Naval gunfire pierces the morning mist. The troops hear the drone of Allied bombers overhead and explosions on shore. A few bombs actually hit German defenses. The men's hearts race as Omaha Beach comes into view and enemy machine guns spray the bombs. The landing craft swing into line as the troops get their first glimpse of what lies ahead. The ramp drops. The men of the Big Red One spill out into waist-deep water and head straight into the jaws of death. They are the first wave onto Omaha Beach. The fate of the war lies in their hands.
Go, 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 go! Go, go, go! We're at the Omaha Beach. There's gunfire everywhere. Some artifacts from that day at the beach. Showing you what it would have looked like when they first were deployed and what they had to do. It's showing you a map of what's going on. You can interact with this if you're here, see what each thing represents. We'll continue on. We have a foothold in Europe. You've got the Red Ball Express. Road to victory. After their successful June 6 landing, Allied forces broke out of the Normandy region in the early August of 1944. American forces were rapidly advancing, burning through 800,000 gallons of fuel each day. There's a little information on the Women's Army Corps. A couple heroes of this war, and it shows you the Medal of Honor. March to Victory, 1944 to 1945 from France. The 1st Division fought their way to East to victory. We went pounding into Germany. The Battle of the Bulge. This is one of the tanks that would have been used. In bitter cold, the 1st Division held fast against a German surprise attack. Just for your information, this is just a historical museum. We do not support the symbols that are in this representation. Victory in Europe, 1945. So another video right here. In 1945, that's when the Nazi Holocaust happened as well. We know how terrible that was, and the people lost and that situation. We remember them, and their families lost their loved ones. Another video showing you the timelines. Integrated Army. Just showing you the different Army teams. So this is the first time that really African Americans had served in the American War since 1607. Normally there would be units that were separate, but they all worked together to fight. A couple artifacts. And here we're entering into Vietnam War, a new kind of war, 1965 to 1975. War in Vietnam was unlike any the U.S. had faced before in a tropical, underdeveloped country in Southeast Asia. American soldiers fought against the two enemies, the Army of North Vietnam, whose regime wished to unite Vietnam under communism, and the Viet Cong, communist guerrillas, fighting from jungle bases in South Vietnam. Couple uniforms, and the 1st Division deploys, and we're going to go into the jungle and get a little more information. A couple of the weapons used. You hear the helicopters overhead. This is a chaplain, Colonel Wesley Geary, and this is stuff that he would have when he was doing his ministry work for Vietnam. Operation Search and Destroy, 1965 to 1968. Mission, find the enemy and destroy. So all these are different operations that they had in the Vietnam War. We were there too. So this is the representation of the nurses that would help wounded soldiers during this war. Getting ready to leave. The first helped prepare South Vietnam for U.S. withdrawal. And in 1970, our troops came home, wanting American support for the war. And this is one of those wars that a lot of people had a hard time supporting. And there was a lot of music and things that were made for this war. This is Robert F. Stryker. He received the Medal of Honor. And here's a full list of soldiers that received the Medal of Honor from 1917 to 1970 in World War I, World War II, and Vietnam War. And we are grateful to all the men that served our forces. The big red one, our soldiers, our division, our mission. Duty first. They sacrificed their lives for our freedom. All right, duty first. This is the new part of the museum. Our division, since 1970, the soldiers of the 1st Infantry Division have served in combat.
When you go into battle or when you go away from battle, you're willing to make those plans.
This is uniform. This is more modern stuff from today. showing the different missions that we have. This is showing us the war in Iraq. Some of the uniforms that they had. Some more artifacts. So these kind of wars had different type of threats. They had different explosives and things that weren't recognizable, like cell phones. They had even a bottle of Dr. Pepper. You never knew. You had to check everything before you actually grabbed it. And here you can actually click on stories from military members that tell their side of the story and what they had to deal with. And this is Nurse Jody's gear. This is one of the women in combat, but she was a nurse that helped aid our soldiers. Iraqi Republic Guard uniform. Some of the tools and weapons that we would have. Shot of President Bush right there. And we can experience the battle at Norfolk. This is a representation of one of the tanks. I'm going to go in here and touch the screen. Actually, have to touch the screen right here.
Hello, my name is Greg Fonte. During Operation Desert Storm, I was a lieutenant colonel and command of Task Force 234 Army. It was a battalion composed of tanks and Bradleys like the one you're sitting in now. Over the next few minutes, you will experience a simulation of the battle we called Fright Night.
Sit down like we're sitting in the tank.
It is midnight, February 27, 1991. We've been traveling without stopping for 72 hours across the desert. Our mission was to attack and defeat the Talakala Division of Iraq's elite Republican Guard at an objective we called Norfolk. Task Force 234 Armor is traveling on the left, 134 Armor on the right. Our Bradley is on the left flank of the 134 Armor. The radio chatter you will hear is from soldiers of 134 Armor recorded during the battle itself.
Okay, you see the road I'm on, cross it, men stay the hell off of it. It could be mine.
1740. There's a place better somewhere. I will. Let me get my hand in the first time. Okay,
If you're in here, you can actually feel the rumbles of the tank as we're moving along.
Commander G says we will crush, and anybody carrying weapons will be considered hostile. I think that's what's going on over.
We are tired, dirty, and scared, and expecting combat at any moment. In the dark, we are also afraid of shooting in return.
Roger, somebody shot from behind my wife. That's what I'm concerned about. Boston team, if you're shooting over my right flank, don't do that. Awesome, Roger. That's not good, not. Ceasefire, ceasefire. You're firing up my Bradley. Still got a still fired. I have been observing you firing. My bushwhacker is observing your element firing. One of my Bradleys is already hit.
Roger, clearing that. Two Bradleys have been hit, got us. I understand. Bushwhacker's moving up with back to help them. How's the button? He looked pretty messed up. What about the colonel? He just messed up his leg, but he was, as the
bleeding a little bit. Kind of in shock, I think. Worried about his gunner. She didn't know the gunner's dead. Copy it,
The soldiers of 134 Armor collect themselves and continue the attack. The soldiers have taken their climax.
By 2 o'clock, your position, clear properly. Let's find them all, Okay, fine. There's a BMP out there. Move up.
As a reminder, this is just a reenactment of what the soldiers had to face. This is tank warfare.
I'll tell you what we did last night. Between us, we effectively destroyed Palestine or whatever that name is, division. When we are set today, we'll only be 10 to 20 kilometers from the ocean, so we will have effectively come in, cut across Iraq, cross Kuwait, and put position into war. Over.
Right here we do have a Superman comic. So this is just something that they would read. There was a lot of comic books that had war propaganda on it as well. And here's a helicopter that we can experience.
They took everything to do it.
We do have some more uniforms. This is one of these stories of the military members. And this is the Berlin, a piece of the Berlin Wall. Right here, these are some artifacts on the wall. And this is the soldier's oath. I do solemnly swear that I will support and defend the Constitution of the United States against all enemies, foreign and domestic, that I will bear true faith and allegiance to the same, and that I will obey the orders of the President of the United States and the orders of the officers appointed over me according to the regulations and the Uniform Code of Military Justice. So help me God. Right here is a memorial to the fallen soldiers, and then actually all these dog tags are ones that are missing. You have the cross here. In the days after D-Day, soldiers began to the solemn task of laying their fallen comrades to rest. And this just shows some were lost and some fell. We have a statue right here. And then we'll show you some plaques over here. In World War I, 1917 to 1918, 5,516 lost. World War II, 1941 to 1945, 4,365 lost. Vietnam War, 1965 to 1975, Republic of Vietnam, 3,181 lost. And over here, we have the Gulf War, 1990 to 1991. Lost 27 men in Kuwait and Iraq. Global War on Terrorism, 2001 to now. Afghanistan and Iraq, 634. So we do honor our troops, and we remember those that we've lost. All right, now we're starting a walk representing our troops, caring for the wounded. This is just a representation of that. And we're gonna go up the hill, see what we can find. And this is Eddie Ireland. Reinforcements arrive. He was from Harvey, Illinois. This is Walt Eilers. He was from Kansas, and he did receive the Bronze Star with Valor and the Medal of Honor. And this is the Roosevelts, father and son. They had a tradition of military service and entered into World War I. The 4 sons of former President Theodore Roosevelt volunteered for the front lines. Here, this is up the hill. This is the hill they marched on. And then we'll go around here, and we have to go back down the hill. And this is just a shot of the grounds. It looks like they are planning on maybe expanding some more exhibits in the parking lot. This is Philip Streisick, hometown of East Brunswick, New Jersey. He did get the Military Medal and Distinguished Service Cross. And this is in the air. Barrage balloons prevented enemy aircrafts from flying close enough to attack troops and equipment on the ground. It's just a recreation of what they would have done. Right here, this is a 155 mm French Snider howitzer.
Okay, 10 to bed. All right, come here. Yeah. And a cartridge. Good. Thanks for the help, guys. It's cartridge.
Okay, so
Insert charge.
you don't have to list
Ram.
watch. They're doing the steps, Connie. They're not firing it yet. They're just...
Pick the prime. Fire positions.
Cover
Make
your
ready.
ears.
Give fire.
Go on.
Who wants another one?
Another one, Derek.
You're gonna do another one, buddy. Go to the front. Go to the front. I can't.
Next cartridge. Go. All good?
Please, I can't see.
Go in front of people. You're small. I'm not,
You guys want to come up
Insert
closer,
charge.
you can.
come on.
Ram.
Go.
Pick a prime. Firing positions. Make ready. On the crowd's command. On the crowd's command. Give fire! Fire! Well done.
I got the whole day, both in camp and on the battlefield. All right. So the day began when you were lying in your tent. 5 men to a tent, by the way. Barely room to move. But your military day began when you heard this sound.